then she used way too much hair. I had 3 bundles, which is a lot of hair. And she put every last part of the 3 bundles. And I said, hey, please don't use the 3 bundles because I want it to look más natural. Más natural. Mami, necesito el cabello más natural. Por favor, mami, por favor. And she was braiding my hair, and I wanted the braids to be loose because I was like, I don't need this super duper tight. I just want it for Valentine's Day weekend. And then she was braiding them really, really tight. I was like, mami, más suelta, porque no quiero un dolor de mi cabeza. I don't want a headache on my head. So please, mami, please. And so she was doing it, and she was nice about it. But now it's like the hair looks nice, everything looks nice, and it looks pretty. Pero it's not like I'm a bald girl. Some girls are genuinely bald and they genuinely need to braid up all their flipping hair. And I'm not bald, so why did she have to braid it all up? And now the thing is, if I cut this right now, it's all connected. So if I cut this, the whole thing is done for, Mom.
Well, that was a challenge.
It's not past tense yet. I wish it was.
Well, for those of you
and she braided the braids tight too, so even if she braided the braids and she braided them loosely, my head would still look like normal. But because she braided them tight, it almost makes you see, oh yeah, there's no hair here. Look like I got a flipping bald spot. Oh my gosh.
Well, I just thought you might want to know that you're on live.
You know, something told me that I was being exposed. The spirit told me that I was being exposed.
Dennis says, much love. And then he said, much love again. I'm so sorry, honey. Thank you for joining us, though, for our live.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry for interrupting your live. But maybe this is good.
This is excellent. This is real life. I said, this is excellent. This is real life.
This is you coaching me.
So, for those of you that don't know, the young lady who's on live is having a challenge with her hair salon. And she's very concerned.
Damn, I just put mad stuff just on blast like that.
She's very concerned about her hair, as she has just recently come back from the salon and she's displeased. And so we're supporting her. Oh, he said, your coaching is unmatched.
Oh, gosh.
Today we're just having some fun. But she's very concerned because this is part of your identity as a woman of color, correct?
Correct.
Wow. I felt a lot of emotion around that.
That was very emotional for me because I feel like, I just want to look pretty. And I feel like I always have these difficulties when it comes to doing my hair because I always want to look natural. And a lot of people want to look, I don't want to say crazy, but they don't mind looking fake. But that's just not really my personality. And I really I like to create styles that I guess are natural looking, and it's just kind of disappointing to me that even today, I got the stuff and I told her I wanted the hair to look natural, and she literally added all of the she literally added all of the no, just take a glance. Look at how much hair this is. Do you see how that's so unnecessary? Yeah, and then it pulled my head back too, so now it looks like I got a bigger forehead. I'm just so overwhelmed. This is just so unnecessary.
Wow.
And then it feels upsetting because I just feel like, if there were if I could just pay to have Beyonce's stylist come to my house and just fix me up, I would do that. But And that's why, shameless plug, I have a business and I do lash extensions. But that's why I feel like my clients are so blessed to have me, because I feel like once they tell me what they want, I give them exactly what they want. Not what I think they want, not what I think would be best for them, not what they might want sometimes on an off chance that they might. No, they want X, and I give them X. And that is the only conversation we are having. And I just think it's so disappointing that you go to and then they charged me too. I think it's so disappointing that you go to a place of business and you pay them and you ask for something and then they don't give you what you want and then you still have to pay them. Like, I just think that's so overwhelmingly upsetting.
I'm sorry you feel like you didn't get what it was that you paid for. Perhaps, was there any lack of clarity in terms of what you requested and what you got?
Well, even now, like, I'm thinking back to like when she was putting all the stuff in my head, and I was like, not that, not that, not that. And it's like she just wasn't listening to me, and it's just like it's making me like infuriated now. What I could have done, I could have gone to a place where I knew they knew what they were doing. That would have been a possibility. I could have maybe spoken up and maybe gotten an attitude and, been maybe a more aggressive client, because even if the experience wouldn't have been enjoyable, at least I would have gotten what I wanted, and given everyone a hard time. Because if I gave everybody a hard time in the salon, instead of just being like, oh, it's okay, yes, mommy, it's fine. If I had been less relaxed and maybe willing to make other people uncomfortable so that I would be comfortable long term, then I don't think I would be in the situation. So maybe the lesson that I'm learning is that I should allow other people to be comfortable, but not allowing other people to be comfortable and sacrificing my happiness in order to do so.
I'm beginning to think that the way you do a thing is the way you do everything. Is it a possibility that that's been a recurring theme? And this is not the first time you've experienced that?
I think that now that you mention it, I think that is completely true. I think more often than not, I prioritize other people over myself. And sometimes they don't even ask me to prioritize them over myself. Or sometimes the ways in which I'm prioritizing them over myself, they don't view it as me prioritizing them over myself. So I know I kind of spoke in circles a little bit there, but what I meant by that was maybe it's that, like what you said, that I do this consistently in my life where I prioritize other people above myself, but they don't ask for that. And maybe that's where my challenge is, because they don't ask for that. Like the lady in the salon asked me, do you like it? Even though she was very set on what she was doing, I'm sure if I told her, hey, do it this way, she would have done it. Even if it made her a little bit more uncomfortable. And I think that that's a boundary. And sometimes when you lack boundaries, it becomes very difficult to be happy.
Wow, you got all of that, huh? That was a lot.
I mean, you've given that to me in a session before. I think I've just gotten a lot. Yeah, I've gotten a lot from working with you, I guess. So I guess here we are now, and stuff is coming full circle. Yeah, I wish it would have been. It's just so disappointing, so unnecessarily disappointing. And I just, life. Sometimes I feel like life is happening to me instead of like
happening for you.
Yeah.
What about if it really is happening for you and not to you, and you just need to realize that?
This hairstyle was not happening for me.
What if the fact that you had the hairstyle is what made you get on, which is why you're on live now discussing it and like really finding perspective? Whereas otherwise you wouldn't have been on live and you wouldn't have had the time to discuss it. Or discuss that concept, which is something that's truly recurring, this concept of how do I express myself in a way that gets the message across, but yet I don't feel like I'm being offensive and rude to the other person. could that possibly be that it's a recurring theme and it's something that we need to spend a little time focusing on?
Um, that's possible, yeah.
Possible. I think sometimes we all have challenges when it comes to communication. Like nobody's excellent at communication all the time. Especially those of us who come from a background where we want to be kind, we want to be gentle, we want to be loving, and we really don't want to offend others. So some people don't care. They don't care about offending others. Just like, hey, it is what it is. But for those of us who want to be kind and gentle and nurturing, and we don't want to offend, sometimes it can be challenging to communicate the displeasure, to communicate the the challenging situation without being offensive. And I mean, when you read this book, remember my book, 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear, Getting Unstuck, and Living Your Best Life, I talk a lot about the situations that I've had in life and where I wanted to walk away and I wanted people to have a good view of me. I wanted people to feel happy about me. I didn't want them to feel offended by me. And I think a big part of it, Christina, and for those of you who are listening, a big part of it is we want to be nice and we want to be liked. What if, for a minute, you just think, well, it really doesn't matter what they think, but it's about you being authentic and true to yourself.
So what I was doing was I wasn't being true to myself?
No, you were not.
Mm.
I don't think you were. Well, let me not say that. Were you being honest and truthful? Were you truly sharing the way you felt?
With them?
Yeah, when you saw that it was going the wrong way, it was going awry. Ooh,
Absolutely not. I chose making them comfortable. And I think also too, another layer to this is also being a Black person in America. And it's funny because, I'm in the Bronx in New York, so there's a lot of Black people around. There's a lot of people of color around, but I think that, especially because of the family that I was brought up in, it was always kind of an underlying theme of be sweet with everybody, be nice with everybody, so they don't think we're those Black people, which sounds terrible to say, but generally when we are young Black people trying to move forward and make money and we're trying to do well, a lot of the time our community props us up based on our proximity to whiteness. So the more palatable you are to white people, the more the straighter your hair is, the more articulate you are when you speak. A lot of the time, those are the people we clap for. So, like Barack Obama's half white, and he's very articulate, and he's gone to all of the best schools. Michelle Obama is very articulate. She went to all the best schools, and those are the people who we love and who we celebrate and we prop up. And to kind of circle back to what we were speaking about, I feel like in order to be comfortable and in order for other people to accept me and to like me and to want me around, I need to be articulate. I need to be mannerly. I need to speak as if I was raised well. But I think that what I've learned is maybe there's a space where I can project that I've been raised well, while also being assertive in the things that I want and need.
I threw it out to the group to ask people how they feel about what you said. Because you feel very confident about what you said. And what you said was that you're talking about the feedback that you're getting from other people, that you have to be this way, you have to do things a certain way. And I was asking the group in the chat, do you feel like what she said is accurate? That she has to present herself in a certain way, that her hair has to be a certain way in order for her to be well received. I mean, I want to get some feedback from you guys. What do you guys think? Do you agree with her? Ooh. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. Does anybody else have anything to say that they disagree with her? Okay, so one of the things you said is that you feel like You have to have your hair a certain way. You have to do things a certain way in order to be received well by other people. And that's one of the reasons why you didn't share with the lady when she was doing your hair in a way that you didn't like, because you didn't want to be offensive. You didn't want to share something that was negative. Um, Dennis said it's your best self. You want to present your best self.
Right, exactly.
But my question is it possible that these thoughts that you have about other people and what you're projecting about other people, and guys, feel free to join in here. This is a group kind of situation. This is not just me today. Is it possible that what you're projecting, that you think everybody else is thinking about you, is it possible that they may not be thinking that? Like, is it possible that the lady who was doing your hair, she just wanted to do a good job and she was doing it in accordance what she thought was right? And if you had shared with her what you thought, which is don't do it that way because I'm not happy, that's not what I want, is it possible that she might have received it? And that maybe
Absolutely. And I think sometimes we have to take responsibility. So I guess I can definitely take responsibility for the part that I played in the demise of my preferred hairstyle.
Like, you really took this deep. I mean, you went to Barack Obama, you went to, you know, people of color, you went deep. Is it possible that the lady wasn't even thinking all of those things that you're?
No, for sure. I actually, I 100% believe that the lady was not thinking any of those things. I was not. The conversation is not really so much about the lady, but I guess for me, it's more so about maybe instead of it being about the lady, it being about, hey, maybe I didn't handle this in the best way, and maybe I'm thinking about maybe my social conditioning.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
I mean that for me, I feel as though I've been conditioned to speak a certain way, act and talk a certain way, and I haven't been taught to do that based on positive encouragement, but based on fear. I fear how I will be received when I articulate myself, so I don't. Yeah.
Okay, again, group, is that projecting? Is she saying that I fear what other people are going to say? I fear how other people are going to react to me. I fear how other people are going to respond to me, which may not be the case. Is it possible that what she's doing is just going on in her own head? Is that possible? Somebody said intrinsic versus extrinsic. Okay, you're gonna have to elaborate on that a little bit. Type and tell me what you mean by that. Somebody said intrinsic versus extrinsic. For those of you who don't know, we're going live on YouTube as well, and so I'm looking at the comments in the chat as well as the personal comments that we have on StreamYard and Facebook. So go ahead. Is it possible that this conversation you're having is a conversation that you're having in your own head that you're projecting onto the lady?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if that is possible, what could you have done differently if you're not truly able to project onto her what she's thinking because you don't really know what she's thinking? Is it possible that perhaps what's going on in here needs to have a shift or an adjustment of some sort because we really are not mind readers and we don't know what other people are thinking?
Absolutely.
Huh. Absolutely. So what could have happened differently? How could you have handled it differently so as not to have been so upset? You were so upset and distressed and came out with a set that's not what you wanted.
I could have just told her how I felt. When I was done and she asked me if I liked it, I could have said, no, I don't like it. I think this part is thicker than this part, and I think this part needs to be fixed. Is that the right answer or is it a wrong answer?
There's no right or wrong. The question is, what would you have to believe in order to speak next time your truth?
I would have to believe that there is no issue with speaking my mind, and I would have to believe that she wants me to speak up. I would have to believe that I'm helping her, because if I did my hair there and I was happy with it, I would go back and then she would get more money from me. And so I have to believe that by speaking up, I'm helping her.
That's interesting. You said you would have to believe that by telling her the truth, you're actually helping her.
Yes.
Okay, because helping others is one of your tenets. That's like what you're about.
Ideally, yeah. I want other people to feel comfortable around me. It's part of my personality.
And that's why you were afraid to talk, because you didn't want her to feel uncomfortable.
Exactly, yeah.
And how beneficial was that for you? How did that make you feel?
It sucked. It made me feel like crap, which is why I was sitting here on your live hablando en español.
When you could have hablando en español con la mujer.
Con la mujer allá.
Instead of carrying all that weight and walking back with it, and now spewing the venom on yourself and on all the other people that are listening to the live who have empathy towards you. Okay, well, it's good though. It's good that you're expressing yourself. Like I said, the way you do a thing is the way you do everything. And I keep going to this spot because I truly believe that if you can free yourself of this concept that you know what other people are thinking, then you'll be freer to communicate in general. Because we don't know what other people are thinking, do we?
Mm-mm.
We don't know what their background is. You were explaining Barack Obama. You were explaining some of these people. She may be a foreigner. She might not even be from the United States. She might not even know any of the background of Barack Obama other than the fact that he was president.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept. There are people on the live. Do you guys understand everything that she was talking about in reference to people of color in this country? Type and tell me. Or is it possible that this is what's going on in your mind?
Stop asking me that. I said it was possible.
Okay.
I said it is going on in my mind.
Okay, so how do we function moving forward?
I told you we fix it.
How do we fix it?
We express ourselves and we tell ourselves a different story.
Okay, and the reason why we weren't expressing it in the past is because the story that we were telling is that we're being offensive to people, we're harming them. But the new story that you're going to tell, the new belief, the new thought is what? Why are we doing this? What's the new thought?
We're helping them. We're helping them get more customers.
We're helping them get more customers, right? If we have a good thought, or not a good, because there's no good or bad, but that thought, what does that thought make you want to do now?
It makes me want to go back there and tell her, hey, you need to fix this. And not in a nasty way, but in like a happy way. Hey, this would be perfect if you just do X, Y, and Z.
And how would that make you feel if you went back there and you shared that with her?
It would make me feel happy.
Why?
It would make me feel happy because, I don't know. You tell me why. Asking me so many questions. I'm so emotional.
Okay, I can't tell you why. You would have to tell me why. Why would it make you feel happy and joyful to go back to the store and share with the lady your truth?
Because I would get what I want, and then I would be happy, and then I would want to go back to her, and then, yeah, I would be happy, and I would want to go back to her. And then she would get more clients.
So, do we get what we want when we speak our truth?
Yes, ideally.
What about the offending people part?
people are going to get offended, and that's okay. But we have to tell ourselves the story that if I speak my truth and somebody gets offended, it's not personal. That just means that they probably had something going on that day.
What if they didn't have something going on that day and you went to her and you shared, listen, I'm not pleased with this. Can you please make the adjustment for me? And she got upset. Then what?
What do you mean? There's no right answer. Okay, I'm sorry for yelling at you. I feel very frustrated and very overwhelmed, and I just answered the question, and now I feel like you're asking me another one. What was the question again?
Okay, we decided that you were going to go to the store and address the lady and speak your truth and ask her to fix it, right? But we also have to accept.
Said, what would I do? You said what would happen, so I said what would happen.
How would you?
Not what would happen.
How would you feel if after you express your truth to her and say, listen, I'm not happy with this, if she doesn't receive it well?
I don't even understand what you're asking. Of course, it would suck. I would feel bad. I'd probably cry. I'd be like, never mind. I'll never come here again.
Okay. What would you have to believe in order to not feel like you're going to cry and not feel like you're going to break down, but be able to deal with the situation? What would you have to think? What thought would you have to have?
I don't know. That's why I'm calling you.
Okay. So we have to accept the fact that we are not in control of other people. We don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what they're going to say. We have no control over her response. I do believe that 9 times out of 10, if you went to her, you paid her your money, she has an obligation to, fix it so that it's the way that you want it. However, we also have to realize that sometimes we share information with others and we can't take it on that they don't agree with us. Okay, so ahead of time, because you're on this call, you're on this live.
I look like Diana Ross.
Okay, so we have to accept the fact. Yes, I do see you. Guys, for those of you who can't see her hair does not look crazy. It looks fine. It's just not to her liking. But what I wanted to share with you is we have to accept the fact that people can respond to us in an unfavorable manner. How are you going to handle that? What do you have to think in order to, ahead of time, prepare yourself if that's the case? So many times we don't speak.
You tell us.
So many times we don't speak because we're afraid of the response. We're afraid of the reaction. But if we can sit in ourselves and accept that negative response just in our mind's eye, because it hasn't happened yet, accept that negative response and decide how we're going to deal with it ahead of time and visualize our response to it and accept it, then we'll be more apt to go and express ourselves and express our truth because we've already decided how we're going to respond if the person doesn't receive us well. And one of the main reasons why you're afraid to go is because you don't want to accept the possibility, or you don't know how to respond if the lady doesn't receive you well. So while we're on this call and while you have this time, the idea is to visualize her not responding well. Her saying, I don't want to have to redo it.
I don't want to visualize that.
But that's what's going to be the impetus for you actually moving forward and not being stuck. So it's all fun and games when we think it's going to be nicey nice. Oh yeah, everything is going to be nice, so I'll go and I'll move forward. But then the minute we hit that wall, that brick wall, then it shuts us down and we go back. But if we can accept the fact that every mountain has a height for us to climb, every victory that we want to celebrate has some level of challenge or difficulty for us to get over. So we have to accept the fact that we're going to have to deal with something challenging. We're going to have to deal with something difficult. How are we going to respond to it? How can we handle it? And if we can address it in our mind's eye, which is secret number 2 in the book, visualization, then we'll be more apt to move forward because we're no longer afraid. And like I said, this situation that you're going through is a microcosm of the situations that you've been going through in your life where you've been afraid to speak. So how are you going to what are you going to do if she responds to you in a negative way?
Give me that question, and I don't know, which is why I keep turning it back on you. I don't know.
Okay, so let's walk through it. Okay, that's an honest reaction. That's
To that, then I would have spoken about the place.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So if she says to you, "No, I'm not going to redo it," are you going to keel over and die?
Maybe.
No. Are you going to keel over and die?
You don't know if I will or won't.
I'm asking you. Guys, help me with her. I'm asking you, are you going to keel over and die?
I guess the right answer is no.
Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Okay. What's the
Anything.
what's the worst scenario? Worst case scenario. Give me worst case scenario.
My gosh. If I oh, oh what is it? You're sending my nervous system in awry.
Okay, take a deep breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. All right. And just answer, what's the worst thing that could happen? And hi, Carolyn. It's nice of you to join us.
The worst thing that could happen is that I don't know, that I'd get banned from the store. I genuinely don't know.
Okay. What would happen if you got banned from the store?
Where are we going with this?
The worst case scenario, if you can deal with the worst case scenario, then you'll actually be able to move forward. If you can come up with a response for the worst case scenario, every other response or every other reaction will be mild by comparison, and you'll be able to deal with it. Dennis says first it's visualization and then manifestation. Yes, we can hear you. Can you guys hear her?
This is so unprofessional, Arlene. My sincerest apologies.
Don't worry about unprofessionalism. Just worry about visualizing the worst case scenario and how you would handle it.
Worst case scenario, they tell me shut up, get out, and beat me up.
Okay. And then what would happen?
I don't know.
If they told you to get out, what would happen?
I don't know.
Would you stand there and fight them? Would you pull out a gun, or would you get out?
I would leave.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
And then what would happen if you left?
No.
Huh? Nothing? Nothing. So how would you be worse off? Because what do you have now? What happens now if you don't go back and address it?
Nothing.
Nothing. You don't get what you want, right?
Right.
So how would you be any worse off?
I would not, in the grand scheme of things.
But is it possible that you'd be a lot happier if you did go in and you asked them and they were willing to make the adjustment for you?
Because then I would not have spent money in vain.
Yes. Absolutely. And how would you feel if they were willing to fix it and make it so that you like it?
Feel great.
Right. And worst case scenario, we said if it didn't work, then what would happen?
They would beat me up.
No, that's not what we said. What did we say was worst case scenario? What would happen?
That I couldn't go back there anymore.
All right. And now you're not going to go back there anyway, right? Because you're not happy with how they did it.
I don't know. I might be desperate.
Oh. Okay. So tell us what you want to do. All of us are here listening to you. What is it that you would like to do? What's your plan? What do you think is the best plan of action for you?
Well, I'm already home. If I were to go out there, I would need to pay for a cab, which I don't particularly want to do. Yeah, I would need to pay for a cab, which I don't want to do. And since we've been on the phone, I've been a bit distracted by our conversation. So I've just been trying to fix my hair in the meantime. And I'm actually doing a pretty good job. So I think maybe this was a false alarm.
Okay, well, even that is a great scenario. Okay, she said, I think this disaster, this thing that I thought was so earth shattering that I needed a session around it, it may not be as earth shattering as I thought. Have there been other situations in life where you thought things were really, really earth shattering or disastrous, but then they turned out not to be that bad?
Yep.
How often does that happen?
Probably more often than not.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. And now you're cutting it yourself, you're styling it yourself, and you're
Yeah.
making it happen, right?
And what?
I said, now you're styling it yourself, you're cutting it yourself, and you're making it happen. You're making it happen to your liking.
Yeah, pretty much. And with me, I don't even need to argue with myself.
Wow. Now, could you have avoided some of that angst and distress and pain and hurt?
Excuse me. Theoretically speaking, yes.
Okay.
Do you think?
Do you know that when we get angry like that, it's literally and upset like that, it's like a what's the word? They say your brain is like having an eruption. Okay? For lack of a better term, there's a technique, a term for it, and it escapes me at this point. But it's like your brain is having an eruption. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. We're putting ourselves through these changes unnecessarily, through this distress and angst and hurt when it's something that we really don't have to have that emotion around. So remember, our thoughts control our feelings control our actions, and our actions control where we are in the world and what we get back in the world. Right?
I like it, Arlene.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I actually really like it, Arlene.
You like it now.
Yeah.
After you've had a chance to discuss it and get it out and get it off your chest. We have more people that have joined us, guys.
Hi, guys. Sorry for my meltdown.
No, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. We have more people that have joined us. So she's sharing with us her distressful situation. She's sharing that she went through a situation. She felt like she couldn't speak on it and she couldn't defend herself because she didn't want to be offensive. And then we determined that this situation of not speaking up for herself has been a recurring theme, and not wanting to offend others has been a recurring theme. And really, the secret is that we have to learn how to communicate with each other. In the post that I did today, I talked about how, when, not to be morbid, but when we pass on, we actually don't take any of the stuff with us. None of our things come. So I may have 2 cars in my driveway, but I don't take my cars with me. The only thing that happens is the people who I've loved on, the people who I've shared with, my friends and family, those are the people that show up for me when at the funeral. So we have to spend time investing in those around us, because those are the only things that will really last. The things that are truly important are the things that we need to spend our time on. So the same way that this young lady was so distressed about the woman who did her hair and did it imperfectly, and we were able to walk her through being less distressed and less worried and having less angst about it, is the same way there are so many things that are going on in our lives that are causing us to feel distress and angst and worry, and they're probably things, 9 out of 10 in the grand scheme of life, that really may not be that impactful once we work through it. Just like we can look back at situations and circumstances that we've been through that in the past we thought were huge, we thought they were insurmountable, but we were able to come through them. And now we look back at them and we're like, oh, that wasn't that big of a deal. I'm so glad that I came through that. At the time, though, it looked huge. So, Christina, I thank you for your situation, because it's just a microcosm of what we've been going through and what we go through in life.
Thanks, Arlene.
So we have about 15 minutes left, and I know we had a young lady who wanted to share with us her business. She wanted to share with us some information. Lady Kasha wanted to share with us some information about her business. And yay, Omeka's joined us as well. Yay, Omeka! Hey, we're so glad to see you. And we have Dennis, and we have Carolyn, and we have all you other people whose names don't pop up because I don't know you. So I need you guys to type in the chat so I can acknowledge you as well. So moving right along. So what are we going to do now in order to speak our truth? How are we going to be more confident and speak our truth? What are some things we can do so as not to be afraid? Because remember, my whole show, my whole premise, the book is about overcoming fear and getting unstuck. The TV show is about overcoming fear and getting unstuck. Everything that we've been talking about over the past 2 years now, it's about overcoming fear and getting unstuck. And then it's so beautiful that you came on and you shared with us your situation about how you were afraid. You were afraid to speak up for yourself, afraid to speak up on your own behalf. It's not like your situation is novel. So what advice would you have now about how to handle these things? And anybody else who wants to cut in, you have to raise your hand and I'll acknowledge you. But in the meantime, go ahead, tell us. What do you think is okay?
I think that emotions can be very strong, and I think that our feelings are valid, but I think that time heals all wounds. And I think that if instead of having a meltdown, if maybe I just took maybe like an hour and just stopped thinking about it, took a break, and maybe came back to it, then I think that I would have been able to make more rational decisions. Because now that I'm here, right now, if I genuinely did feel like my hair looked bad, then I could just go to the people and go and tell them to fix it. Versus if I was speaking to them inside, I may have cried in their faces because I was feeling really emotional. So maybe I guess the answer would be to briefly detach from emotions, let yourself feel your emotions, and then move on. And don't feel like time is of the essence. Because when I was sitting in her chair, I also felt really anxious because I felt like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm going to leave, and then this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. But even though time was of the essence and I had to leave, time was of the essence, past tense. So time isn't really of the essence anymore. So if I needed to go back right now, if it was that important, I could go back now unscathed. And I could go back calmer, and instead of feeling emotional, I could tell them maybe exactly what I wanted. I could articulate myself better so that they would make me happier.
So your response was detach from the emotions of the situation, give yourself time, take a minute, and then express your desires. And that would have been more helpful. Okay, Kasha's going to give you a word too. She's going to tell you what she thinks you could have done or can do. Go ahead. We can hear you. Speak. Are you speaking, Kasha?
Oh, hello.
Yes. Yeah,
this is my first time on the StreamYard, so forgive me being a newbie here.
She said, "Hi, Kasha."
Hello, everyone.
She's gonna give you her insight.
So first of all, I'm not sure what your name is. I am not here to criticize you, and I'm not on this call from the very beginning. So, based on what I've heard, I will tell you what I'm doing in certain situations. First of all, after being living over 40 years with some kind of PTSD, after being abused by my whole family, and first of all being abused by my own parents, I finally grew up, and I decided to walk away from the situation I was feeling that I'm trapped in. And so the first advice to everybody: you always have a choice. Even like I was thinking for a few decades that I have no choice. I'm like in this corner, like always thinking, why this is happening to me? Why those people are doing those things to me? And I found the answer because I didn't decide early enough to walk away from this. As soon you just take your swirl around and turn around and walk your direction, your new direction, then you start feeling like this incredible power inside. And you are like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for this answer. I've been looking for somebody to save me. I've been looking for some magic, and magic was in my own legs, step by step, to walk away and find your own space and say bye, and say bye to the things like I'm not gonna be that victim in that corner no more.
Wow.
I'm going to create my own life by my own design, the way I want it. And then if when you start feeling this way, sometimes when I was in those very uncomfortable situation, you can call them trouble, mistakes, whatever, because sometimes you do something wrong, sometimes you get into something in the wrong way or something, and then that that then how you say that victimhood mentality that you are accustomed to, because for example before you were too young, so you didn't know that you could walk away because your parents would always say, okay, don't do this, don't jump, don't get wet, don't do this, so you are accustomed to don't, and you don't understand your own power of making your own decisions. Recently, I was in a coaching situation with with parents and young children. I mean teenagers. It was designed for teenagers, and this girl, she said like, "Oh, I do this because I have no choice," and I'm like, "Listen, this is the wrong label of this situation. I beg you, change the label. Say like, in this particular situation, I see like the scale of me having options is just like, you can just put your one eye only here, but even with one eye you have this angle of this eye, and you have this angle of the eye. So instead of convincing yourself I had no choice, even in
Mm.
this very skinny situation of very little of choice, make a choice, choose something. And even in this situation, if you will walk away from that situation by choosing a choice, you will still feel that you are designing something, and you will be choosing something that is best for the occasion, but it still gives you your tip of your shoes in the door to the exit, to another choice, to more choices, to the bigger choice. I mean, I can talk about this for another 5 hours. How many do you have?
Maybe not 5, but
Thank you so much, Kasha. That was so wonderful. I'm going to bring up Almeka. I want you to share your words of wisdom. Thank you, Kasha. I'm going to remove you from the stream. I'm going to bring you up, Almeka, and I'm going to ask you, hi there. I'm sure you've had situations too where you've needed to speak up and share something, but you felt a little bit like afraid to share and speak your truth. Maybe you could share with her as Kasha just wonderfully and eloquently did. What are your thoughts?
Well, greetings, everyone. Um, yeah, actually, it sounds like you
There.
went to get your hair did, and they didn't do it the way you really wanted them to. Yeah, that's one of those. That's what it sounds like. I
Yeah.
think that's what happened. Okay,
that's
and
exactly.
yeah, that's an interesting one because well, now you know. Let me just say that. Once you go to somebody for the first time and they don't do it like you want, or you're not quite sure they will do it again, even if you told them, yeah, best to just not recommend them for me and find someone else and use a different criteria in choosing. I know back in the day we used to take a picture from a magazine and say, I want to look like this,
Mm.
Essence or whatever. I don't know what kind of hair you got. But yeah, that was like 50 years ago. But at any rate,
No, that
40,
makes perfect
45.
sense.
Yeah, I want this right here. And if they have to describe how they're going to do it. And
Could that
then,
have been something you could have done to empower yourself? Show her what you wanted ahead of time?
Absolutely.
yeah, just a thought in terms of the actual hair. Yeah, I'm in a situation right now and it's like, wow. So yeah, feeling empowered and empowering ourselves or getting on a call or coaching session such as this. Um, yeah, there's different ways we can prompt ourselves or give ourselves confidence. Right now, well, this is live, this is recorded, but she won't hear. It's okay. It's still.
You're
I'm
on
afraid
one.
to tell my truth to people that she's not even going to hear. So
She
truth
can
is
hear it.
truth, and even if she did, I feel like I'm at a point where if I can tell a stranger, I can tell the actual person that I'm talking about, and I want to live that way, and I don't want to, people call it talking behind your back, or there's different names. And yeah, I have someone living with me, and it's with my mother. Yeah, it's just really I'm making it complicated. I'm like, so I'm looking at all the different ways I'm complicating, and it's like it's not really my house. My mother really can't say she has dementia. She can't really speak for herself, but her actions speak as though she likes the person being here. But the person has removed themselves. I asked for them for money. They've been here a whole year and a half. So my thing is like I don't deserve to be treated well. That's that's how I've been living. I don't deserve to be treated well. It's okay if people walk all over me. Well, people really aren't walking all over me. It's just all these thoughts. I'm like, wow, you going through all of that? No wonder so I'm looking at the feeling that I have in my body. It's like this tension and anger from me not acting and not being honest and saying, but so I have this extreme. So I really want to say, can you just get the heck out? Can you just get out? I've asked you to do this, and this is how I grew up. So I'm like, I'm living with my mother. I'm like, if you don't want to do it the way I told you before, aren't you listening? What's the matter with you? How come you taking advantage of us? You know, um,
That's actually so interesting as well now that I'm hearing you, because I feel like if maybe I had paid somebody to do it and then fell asleep and then woke up, then maybe I wouldn't have felt so bad, because I wouldn't have said, okay, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done this. And I think a lot of the time our frustration isn't always with the people. It's definitely with the people, but maybe it's how we wish we could have reacted to said situations afterwards. Like how they say hindsight is 2020.
yeah, I hear you. That too, that part. Yeah. So I'm in the middle of it, and it's like I'm making these reasons, and it's just so feeling valid, feeling like my reasons are valid, like, and I attract different, like, I said I was gonna come, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 4:30. Let me click on, and I clicked on YouTube, and I'm the only one over there, and I'm like, okay, how are they being live? I said, is it Zoom? Is it? So I went on the
You're
message
not the only
chat.
one. There's
Yeah, but it's cool. But oh, oops,
yeah,
I
you're
don't
not
want to
the
leave.
only one. I
No,
think
no, I'm just saying. My point is, I attract solutions,
in
possible
your own
solutions,
mind.
and options. No, in my life, like you're talking. You asked me to talk about what I need to talk about and what I need to, in terms of what I think, what I need to do, how I need to communicate to someone else. I didn't necessarily come on here, and I kind of knew that you were gonna call me because I haven't been around in a long time. So part of my fear of coming on here was like, oh, I don't feel like being seen. I don't feel like talking. Got these old school headphones on and the crazy hat and whatever. Just um judgments. Yeah, judgments. Well, you're supposed to be nice. You've known this person for a really long time. It's like, well, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm like, okay, and you still don't want her to have her stuff in here and not pay anything. I mean, that's just so my values, not as opposed to someone else's values. Other people have their values. I have mine. I need to be true to mine. I can't control anybody else's actions, like for real. I could take the stuff and throw it in the street, but I don't live in the kind of neighborhood where people will come and run and take it and it'll be gone in a day. I live in a like upscale community. You know, just throw people stuff on the street. You know, so even that is a extreme option in my mind, which I wouldn't do. But I can't even. Well, I could do it, but you know, it'd be totally inappropriate. Um, so anyway, yeah, it's like so. I'm allowing myself to go through the emotions, like all of them. Like, okay, what are the good things about her having been here? You know, and just because I tend to be very extreme. I grew up in extreme. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you, or you know, we're going on vacation. You know, it's just kind of like you
Okay.
know why, and it's about lying and a lot of other issues that is kind of being brought up by living with my mom and unconditionally, but you know, there's some kind of conditions there, loving her and caring for her and providing for my mother. All of a sudden, I'm like, whoa, this is interesting. So anyway, yep.
Do you mind if I respond to what you said
Oh
and
no, let me shut up because it's I don't know what time you go to, but yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, please do.
I can respond? Okay, beautiful. So one of the things that I heard you say, Omeka, is that um, you wanted to address the situation to the lady, just similarly to the way that Christina wanted to address the situation to the person that she was challenged by, and that you had been brought up in a way where you just express it explicitly, um, but you hadn't done that to this person. She, on the other hand, she was saying that she wasn't brought up that way, and so that's why she was afraid. So it's interesting because, on the one hand, one person is saying, well, I was brought up to be nice, be sweet, and so I'm afraid to speak. But then on the other hand, you're saying, well, I was brought up to actually be forthright, but I don't want to, cut her off like that and be that forthright. So it's funny because it's almost like it proves the point that it's not so much our upbringing because you can get the sweet, sweet by and by upbringing and then still have challenges, or you can get the cut it and just be forthright and still have challenges from that perspective. So really, it brings us to the truth, which is that it's really up to us. It's really up to us. It's not about mommy. It's not about daddy. At this juncture, anyway. I mean, if you're 5 years old, then yeah. But at this juncture, as adults, in order for us to move forward, it's about the present, And in the post, I said that the present is a gift. There's so many that joined us and are no longer with us today. So anybody that's here has the gift of being in the present. And so we can choose to be our very best self in the present and do the best that we can with the tools that we have. We can come on calls like this and we can discuss, we can get coaching around how we can do things in a better way, take off some of the weights that we've been carrying by ourselves. Because when we're able to share these thoughts and lift off some of this baggage, we feel lighter. I'm sure even just sharing the situation, it lends to, at least now I don't have to carry it all by myself.
Absolutely.
Right? And she's smiling and shaking her head. Yes. So
Yes, I have this interrupting thing, so I just was
breathe.
like, let her say what she. But yeah, absolutely, yeah, and
So if we
just allow that breathing you were telling her to do. Like, yeah, that helps, and it's okay to be honest without yelling and screaming at somebody and telling them all the things, all the other things you haven't told them. Um, I haven't told her. Yeah, it's a lot of yeah. What do they call it? Dysfunction, dysfunctional upbringing. But yeah, not even to blame, but just like unpack and unravel it because like I don't like. And one of the things it was the clarity, and I was saying to you, the picture, the clarity of oh, it's just a friend, and she's just gonna stay, and she's gonna do the right thing, and she's gonna leave when it's a good time to leave. No, let's make a written. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but the written agreement about when you're going to leave, or however many agreements, and saying, and I have said some things, but like I might
You
need to
said
say
it
them
in
again.
passing.
It's
You
like
said
I realize that I don't want somebody that drinks a lot and smokes a lot up around here, like a lot, like extreme, like falling out, getting stopped,
what would
speeding,
you
and
have to believe about
so.
yourself to know that you are able to handle the situation in the best way possible?
Well, first of all, I need to know that it's okay. My friend, I tell her different things about what's going on. She's like, "Don't you have any normal friends?" Because I have these friends that are artists, or they don't have a house, they don't have a car, they just don't have. Or I have some that do have a lot of things, but like they're on disability and they're working. It's just different. Like, but I'm like, well, is anybody normal? Does anybody just have a 9 to 5 and a happy home life? And I'm like, what does she mean by normal? But she's a doctor, and I mean, I don't know how normal, but you know, she's a doctor. She has her own house and a car, and I guess maybe that was it. It's like, anyway.
So what would you have to
What would I have to think
tell,
differently in order to?
address the situation with her appropriately?
I'd have to think that she's here now, and I would have to save some empathy. I would have to breathe in order to ask her for a clear, at least month. And I'm giving all this leeway like I have to, but a date. This is just what I really want, a date that she is going to leave, and or a date that she is going to. And again, you can't make somebody come up with money. I'm like, yeah, put yourself in the situation. This person wasn't working, and and I've seen them have money, and it's like, So I feel used, and I will have to not feel used and keep, because it's distracting me from what I need to do for me.
So
I'm
what do
allowing
you
it
have
to.
to believe about yourself to present to her that it is time to go and that she has a month or not? If you said a month or not in which to leave, what would you have to believe about yourself?
That I have authority over, and it's not my house, but as being a caregiver, it's a caregiver of my mom, of the house, of her things, and what I say goes. That's the way I grew up. You in my house, you got to do as I say. Hello, yeah. So and on the other end, knowing that she's got some obligation, and I'm like, okay, that's not your business. She's got to do this, and I'm like, you sound like her. The excuses. I'm taking up for her excuses. I'm like, okay, but I do it myself. People like that, you keep giving. It's like the stray dog, a stray cat. You keep putting that food out there, they're gonna come and eat it. Okay, so if it's not me, it's gonna be somebody else. And right now, it is somebody else because she hasn't been here. So I'd have to know that I'm a good person and know that it's okay to be firm and clear, and want to have want to people to do unto me as I would do unto them. Even though we're not in that situation, we never will be. But it's okay to be loving and giving
It is
and
okay.
clear and firm
It
all
is
at the same time.
it is okay. I
Yeah.
want you to know that you are absolutely right. You
For
are
a reason or for no reason whatsoever, just because that's the way I want. Because my physical body is it could be just that alone. It don't have to be the mice. It don't have to be the, you know. Well, the mice is already here, but with her things in the garage, they're like everywhere in the garage now. So,
even more
and I don't
reason.
have to tell her, well, you got to get your stuff out because the mice is eating it.
So
Look,
even
the
more
stuff
reason
needs
why
to go.
you need to accept your responsibility, step into that self where take a deep breath in and out and step into that person that you know you are, that is capable of speaking clearly and authoritatively. As you said, you are the person who is responsible for the affairs of the house because your mom can't do it right now. So she has you, and you're the one that has to do it right now. And you have the ability, you have the giftings. Just like Christina shared on the call today, in the past, and just like Kasia shared on the call, you have the ability and it's up to you and you can do it. And I'm looking forward to hearing about the victory that you had in speaking with this lady and definitively giving a timeline by which she has to go. You are
because let me just say this too, because this is it's a reflection of the rest of my life. Like, I'm gonna buy your book, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna come to your live, I'm gonna finish my CD. It's like the procrastination. How you do anything is how you do everything. Thank you again for that. I heard it a million times, but I needed to hear it again. How I'm waiting to be honest, to tell somebody I'm waiting to do my CD for the perfect day. I'm waiting to, well, yeah, I'm waiting to get $9, $10, or $20, whatever it is, to buy the book.
So our time is far spent, but I'm so glad that you had that realization.
I pat myself on the back, and I applaud everyone for being their true selves and for sharing their truth. Thank you very much.
Take this one step, okay? And know that as you take this one step with this one area of procrastination, that, as we said, the way you do a thing is the way you do everything. And so this will begin the domino effect of you being able to then take the second step and a third step and a fourth step on your journey. Okay, guys, so we're over. It's 10 after. I want to thank each of you for sharing and joining. And for those of you that didn't get to share this time, I invite you to come back next week and we're going to share again. Please go to Ask Arlene Show on YouTube and subscribe so that you'll get the link when we're doing it again next time. And I just want you all to know I love each of you. I thank you for your time. And I ask you to pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit for your wins. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can go where you want to go. You can do what you want to do. And you can be
who you want to be.
Who you want to be in the world. Thank you. Bye-bye. Next week, we'll do all the things that